So, what was something that you believed about practice ownership as an associate that turned out to be completely wrong?
One reality is you would believe that private practice owners do very well from the beginning. It's very lucrative. In my opinion, it takes time.
What do you think was the most difficult transition you made from an associate to clinic owner?
There were a lot of things, but I think financials were very difficult.
Canada is considered as one of the toughest countries to crack the licensing exam. Which route did you follow to get your license?
So initially I started with the equivalency method, which is where you have to give 3 exams and then write the OSCE.
Where do you think dentists overspend? My guest today is someone who has practiced orthodontics on 3 continents and across 5 Canadian provinces, and somewhere along the way became fascinated not just with straightening teeth but with building the systems that let a practice run predictably, ethically, and at scale. Dr. Varun Pratap Singh trained and worked across India, Nepal, UAE, and Canada before recently opening his own practice, Vivid Smile Orthodontics in Mississauga, Ontario. He thinks deeply about practice design, workflow, sustainable growth, and mentoring the next generation of clinicians. And today he is going to take us behind the scenes of building a modern orthodontic practice from the ground up. Dr. Varun, welcome to the Dental Lens.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here.
Say, pleasure is all ours. So, Doctor, I would like to know about your journey, like how you started from India and landed up in Canada, and how has been your professional journey along the way.
Yeah. So I did my dental school at orthodontic residency back home in India. After that, I moved to Nepal under a project where Government of India and Government of Nepal were developing a university. It's called BP Korala Institute of Health and Sciences, and I was there for work, involved in research, and did publish around 50 papers. And then I moved to Abu Dhabi in 2014, worked for the government of Abu Dhabi. Finally, moving to Canada in 2019, had to go through the process of recredentializing again, did my residency at the University of British Columbia, and started practicing as an associate. Last year, I started my own practice, Vivid Smiles Orthodontics.
It has been such a fascinating journey, Dr. Varun. So, after practicing in Abu Dhabi, what made you think, like, because Canada is considered as one of the toughest countries to crack the licensing exams there. So, which route did you follow to get your license? Sure.
Yep. So initially, I started with the equivalency method, which is where you have to give 3 exams and then write the OSCE. So when I did clear 2 exams from Abu Dhabi, so I was in Abu Dhabi, and there were a lot of overseas centers back then. So I gave my first exam in Hong Kong. Second exam, I have to travel to Canada. And then there is something called as dental specialty assessment and training program.
Yes, yes.
So this is like challenging the boards. So again, you have to write exams, do a working interview. I was fortunate enough to get into that program at the University of British Columbia, and I finished that program in 2020. And then we had to write the board exams and to qualify as a specialist in Canada.
That is actually, I am aware of the DSATP program, and I have heard like it is very few seats are available all over in Canada, maybe 2 or 3 in complete Canada. So
Yeah.
I think it has been really fortunate, and your dedication has been a lot, to crack that exam.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you have done like 1 year again residency in British Columbia and started your own working across.
Yeah. It was meant to be a 1 year, but because of COVID, the program got extended. So I ended up doing almost 2 years.
I think having experience from Abu Dhabi helped you a lot in gaining that seat. How many years did you practice in Abu Dhabi?
So I was in Abu Dhabi for 4 years. I enjoyed working in Abu Dhabi. I was working for government of Abu Dhabi. I was at Al Ain Dental Center and then at Al Hili Dental Center, and I really enjoyed working in Abu Dhabi, especially because I was in the government sector and everything was very organized, latest state of the art technology. and it was a very good time.
I think for DSATP program, they even ask you for your portfolio and everything, right?
Yes. So initially, the process they were asking for all information like your curriculum, your detailed portfolio, cases, experience in treating, your clinical experience, your academic experience. So yes, there was a process.
So having research papers helped you in cracking that exam?
Yes, I think very much because it builds your overall profile. So if you work as an academic, if you have published papers, you know how to use that knowledge in day-to-day clinical scenarios. This is what they focus here. How can you use the cutting edge research in your daily practice?
So the exam name was GSCKE. Now it has been cancelled, and now we have to write the ADAT for the same exam right now.
Yes, so the exams have changed over the year. Initially, it was dental specialty core knowledge exam. So after this exam, they used to invite you for an in-person interview, and they would do a written assessment, like wire bending exercises, for example, in orthodontics, case discussions. But it has evolved over the years. After COVID, things change. So they've made it more of an online exam, and then they went to the American Dental Admission Test, which is
Yeah.
ADAT, as a qualifying exam for actually even for equivalency, like for applying to dental schools. Also, they changed it to the ADAT exam.
Dr. Varun, do you think it is still viable for Indian dentists to, come and practice in Canada? Because I have heard the saturation is there also, it has become a lot.
Yep. So this is actually true. So major cities like Toronto, Vancouver are saturated, right? So there's still scope in rural areas where the demand for dentistry is very high. Uh, it is very viable, but the main question now is immigration. So before getting Canadian PR was very straightforward. Now things have changed. So I think getting your dental license plus getting that immigration status is equally important.
So, Dr. Varun, did you move on the PR there, or it was like visit visa, writing the exam, coming back again, or?
So I moved as a permanent resident. So I applied while I was in Abu Dhabi, and I got through express entry. And that time they were, it was like they were wanting more immigrants to come and support various sectors. So it was, I would not, it was comparatively easier, is what how I would like to put it. Yes.
So you have even in Canada, you worked across 5 provinces. So what is the main differences that you have seen in the practice or in the treatment aspects, that shaped your vision of the orthodontics?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I, since I went to UBC and I practiced in BC, then it was also, a very good experience because you see different provincial healthcare systems. So, and you would feel that dentistry would work the same, but that is not true. Every province, especially for hygienists, for assistants, what they can do is very different. So I learned these differences across different provinces, and the demand supply is also different. So the demand for orthodontics is very high in some of the provinces which are underserved as compared to, for example, Ontario and BC, which have sufficient orthodontists practicing there.
So after traveling across Canada, like why did you choose Mississauga, Ontario?
Yeah,
What?
that's a good question. So, again, extended family and friends. My younger brother is a software engineer. He lives in Toronto, and I have a lot of extended family members in the Greater Toronto area. So I chose Mississauga.
Yeah, I heard it's a very good city, and Indian population and Middle Eastern population is a lot actually there.
Yes, I enjoy the diversity in Mississauga, and it's a lot of big Southeast Asian population, big Middle Eastern population, so it's very diverse, and I truly enjoy being in Mississauga.
So, doctor, like moving between 4 countries and 4 provinces, so everything was a different regulatory, different cultural and patient expectation environments. So, what was the hardest system to unlearn and relearn for you again?
Yeah, so I would say the hardest thing was moving from a specialist mindset to more of a listener's mindset. So if I go back home, and with no disrespect, but specialists are the highest authority. So you would present your findings to the patients, and patients usually are very good, and they, just go ahead with what you are recommending. But especially in Canada, and to be honest, in Abu Dhabi, it was more of a partnership.
Yeah.
So you would go in more details. Sometimes you would present different plans to the patient, ideal plans, not ideal plans. Talk about compromises, risks, benefits. So it is more inclusive, is what I would say. And this was a learning process.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because in India, doctors has the last word. Whatever we say, patient kind of trust us at that level that they follow through. But in Western countries, I believe, as you said, it's more of a dialogue between the patient and the dentist.
fantastic.
So, for internationally trained clinicians trying to establish themselves in Canada, what's the one thing you wish someone had told you earlier?
I think the best advice would be go work in a dental clinic or work in a specialty clinic, because then what happens is you know what you are getting into, you know the cultural differences, you get a bit of even what are the regulatory standards. So you get a lot other than just clinical dentistry. So I missed on that because I was so busy for the exams, and I was just, writing these exams, trying to get in. But then I realized that if I would have even volunteered in a dental clinic or an orthodontic clinic, I would have learned much more, which is, beyond clinical dentistry.
So I think it's like observer. They provide observerships also in Canada. What I have
Yep.
heard. Yeah. So there are two pathways mainly, apart from the DSATP. One is through university and one is equivalency program. So which do you think dentists prefer there? Is there any job market discrimination between both pathways, or either one is better for them?
Yep. So this is a question a lot of people ask, and I have even heard that some of the local dentists or the corporations preferring people who did their dental school in US or Canada as compared to people who are doing equivalency, which is not entirely true. I think the main thing is getting that cultural difference sorted out, gaining how the system works in Canada. So again, working in dental settings before you start practicing is very important, so that you understand the nuances of the system, like how dental insurance works here, how you talk to patients, how you present your treatment plans. Informed consent is different in different provinces. There are small changes. So if you work, or if you observe in a dental clinical setting, that would help you a lot. And that's what happens in school. So once you go to school, you have your patient management system, you are entering your own notes, you are documenting everything. So you are not only like refreshing your dental clinical skills, but you are knowing how to document, how to record, how to present, right? Not only just how to perform.
That is true. Actually, getting familiar with the environment will actually give us also confidence to face the patients. And I have seen many people even on LinkedIn, like they start as a dental office managers or dental assistants, and again move up there up through the equivalency program and DEP qualifying programs.
Yep, that is very correct, and I think it helps too, because see, uh, when you speak multiple languages, right? You are a non-native speaker. You would want to understand all the difficulties which you might face explaining anything to the patient. So practicing them in advance before you are a dentist definitely helps.
So please describe your journey from an associate to a clinic owner now in Canada.
Yeah. So I started with a corporation, and started working as an associate. I have worked for them in different provinces. It was a good learning experience because you don't have to deal with the business side of it. You are focusing on the clinical side. But then, what happens after a point of time is you want to have something on your own. Then you have the desire of starting something so that you have full control.
Mm.
Uh, and this is what led me to start Vivid Smiles Orthodontics. But I've learned a lot. I think it's better, in my opinion, to work as an associate for some years before you start something on your own, because that is like a good learning opportunity for you to understand how system works, how the management part of it works.
I think the transitioning is majorly for the management part, because as a dentist we just go, everything is ready for us. We work on the patient and come back. But as an owner, it is a complete 360-degree shift. Then you have to think about the costing, pricing, and everything, marketing. So, what do you think was the most difficult transition you made as from an associate to the clinic owner?
Yeah, so there were a lot of things, but I think financials were very difficult. Understanding how to read a profit and loss statement, calculating each and everything to see when you would break even, what are your fixed expenses, what are your variable expenses. Human resources was also a challenge, because now you have employees, you are setting out contracts to them, you want to make sure that everything is followed as per norms and regulations. So I think these two things were a real big challenge for me.
So like hiring people and managing them, because like we are used to ordering around as a dentist.
Yes.
Yeah. So what was something that you believed about practice ownership as an associate that turned out to be completely wrong once you were the one signing the lease?
Yeah, so one reality is, you would believe that, private practice owners, they do very well from the beginning, it's very lucrative. I would, it's in my opinion, it takes time. So now the current markets in major cities are, I would say, very competitive. So you have to carefully do your break even analysis, like how much time it would take for you to break even, how much time for it to take you to be profitable, because then you would plan your reserve funds and all other important aspects, like would you continue working as an associate for a few days to support yourself and the clinic. So these are all questions which you need to understand.
So what is an average, average time for a dentist to break even or become profitable as
Yeah,
an owner?
so for general dentist, it's different, because now with the Canada Dental Care Plan, CDCP, there's a lot of coverage to the populations. Now, for a specialist like us, orthodontists, it's very challenging, because insurance usually doesn't cover orthodontic care, or the coverage is minimal. CDCP is still not covering orthodontics. So
Okay.
I would say for an orthodontic clinic, around 2 years is the break-even time. So you have to support the practice for 2 years before you can expect anything back from the practice.
So you need to have a 2-year reserve before jumping into the ownership bandwagon.
Yes, yeah.
So how did you decide that you were ready for an practice ownership? Like, was it data or was it gut feeling that now you have to start on your own?
Yeah, I think it was, most people would assume that data, but I would say the truth. It's mostly gut. I would say 60% gut feeling, 40% data. And again, because I have moved so much, I was also worried about the time frame. Like,
Yeah.
would I be able to enjoy this practice? So time was running out, and I was like, this is the right time. It's like now or never. So I think that also prompted me to start the practice.
I believe like no one is completely ready to jump on in something unknown. We have to start with our gut feeling, then everything will fall into place as days go by.
No, I agree. I did the same. Yeah.
So, what was your thought process behind building Vivid Smile, like workflow efficiency and patient experience?
Yep. So these are the two main thing. Actually, patient experience is the differentiator these days. There are a lot of practices, but what would differentiate you in the market? So I
Mm.
think I focused on technology and patient experience. So my main aim was to use the latest technology which would benefit patients, improving the patient experience, not just to showcase, but making sure that it really helps elevating the patient experience.
So, if you could get three things right on day one, what would they be?
I think the first thing is, financial policy, how much you're going to price your care. Uh, there are a lot of practices here offering, payment plans. So figuring all that out in advance from day one would be the best thing. Second is, I would say, employee or employees, because in Canada it's very difficult to find employees, to find skilled labor, and with the shortage of dental hygienists, it's getting worse. And the third thing I would say is to, get your numbers right from the beginning. How many patients do you need to break even? How many patients do you need to start every month? So that you have a goal in mind which you can work on.
So, you have talked about practice design and space programming in a dental clinic. So, how does the physical layout of a clinic shape the clinical and emotional experience of a patient?
I think this is enormous, because you would want a very good workflow from the point patient enters the reception to the clinical area. It should be a good transition. Again, in my opinion, your treatment coordinator room, or the room where you present a treatment plan to the patient, should not be very clinical. It should be, more a calm environment, so that the patient can understand what you are trying to convey, no distractions. So that is very important. Again, focus on patient experience so that the workflow is smooth. It follows a certain direction and pattern.
So, doctor, did you buy the practice from a previous owner or you built it from scratch?
No, I built it from scratch. So I was, in my honest and humble opinion, I was very interested in taking over an existing practice, because that makes it easy for you in the beginning. You have a cash flow, you have existing patient base, and you have to build it. But unfortunately, I could not find anything, because during that time, corporates were on a buying spree. They were buying all the practices, and it's difficult as a, as an individual owner to compete with these corporates. So I waited for 2 years to get something, but then I decided that I would start something from my own. I prepared myself that it is going to be a little difficult as compared to buying an existing practice. But yeah, I think that was the main reason I started on my own.
So, DSOs are becoming a major part of Canadian dentistry right now. So, what was your decision like not to join a DSO?
Yep. So initially, I was working for an OSO, which is similar to a DSO but orthodontic space. So
Okay.
I worked for them for 4 years, and it is the reality today that DSOs are, growing, and I would say the percentage of private practices are declining as compared to DSO owned practices, and people are selling to DSOs. So it is a very challenging environment. I think it does not make a difference if you are clear in what you want to do. For me, it was more about independence, doing what I really want to do, not following set of norms. So that is why I decided to start this practice. Otherwise, I was doing well with an OSO. I was happy with the compensation, but I wanted to do it my way, because
Like,
in a DSO or OSO, they have a set of policies which everybody should follow, which is understandable. They want to keep things uniform. So, but my wish was, I want to do it my way.
you wanted the complete autonomy of building something of your own.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the bigger reasons for dentists to follow the private dentistry path. So, doctor, what's one operational system that you put in place that quietly doing more work than people would expect? What's the
Yep.
system that you have designed?
Yeah. So I think this is my financial contract document, because when people start this treatment, they are unaware of, how the breakdown would be, uh, how and finance is a very touchy subject, right? When you orthodontic treatment uh, is I would not say expensive, but it's more costly as compared to some other treatments, and it is for a longer duration of time. So you have this relation with the patients, and you would want to make sure that everything is conveyed. So this contract, details what is the duration of the treatment, expected duration of the treatment, what is the payment plan, what are the do's, what are the don'ts, what all is included in this treatment. So it sets people up, and then they can always refer back to this document.
Basically, having the clarity, like what the patient is getting and what we are providing, because most of the time, if it is not written properly, patients just get confusion, like, am I getting the worth of what I'm paying?
No, I
And
truly agree. And sometimes they're like, oh, would the retainers be covered in this? I broke these many brackets, or I lost the tray. Would that be covered in it? So you want to outline, you want to be transparent. You don't want to deceive anybody, or you don't want them to feel deceived. You want to be
yes.
very honest and transparent from the beginning. So, yeah.
So, doctor, like as an orthodontist, are you allowed to practice general dentistry as well, or do you practice in your general dentistry in your clinic?
No. So here, like you can practice general dentistry if you license and register as a general dentist, but it's your choice. If you're registered as a specialist only, then you can only practice your specialty. Currently, I'm just practicing orthodontics.
Like I thought, like in back in India, as an MDS, you can practice even general dentistry in your own clinic. So I thought once we are licensed even as a specialist, then also we can practice general dentistry. I think this is one distinction people are not aware of who
No.
are planning to come here.
Yeah, this is very true. And the other thing is, doctor, is like here it is mostly referral system. So, general dentists refer patients to specialists. So, you have that relationship with your general dentists. So, now if you start offering dental services in house, then most of the general dentists would not be comfortable with it, sending their patients to you, that you might influence them, or might convince them to do some general dental procedures with you. So that is one of the things which specialists do take into consideration. And most of the specialist clinic, I would say, in fact, like I have not seen a specialist clinic offering general dental services to the patients here.
Uh, but I'm a prosthodontist, so speaking in my terms, as a prosthodontist, many general dentists even do the crown preparations and all. So, surviving a dental clinic only on your specialty, isn't it difficult? Like if you're focusing only on orthodontic cases, general dentist, what I want to say is, dental patients are already less, they are not that much keen on the treatments and all, but in that you are removing maximum and 10% of your specialty. Isn't it difficult to survive only on the specialist treatments?
Yeah, that's a very valid question, and I would say the answer is yes. That is why it's taking 2 to 2.5 years to break even. And this is just an analysis. There's no guarantee. It might take even long. And this would require you to work extra days outside of your practice. So
Hmm.
you are almost working 6 days in a week just to support yourself. So the and this is true that, see, general dentists, they also do Invisalign, they also do braces, they do
Yes.
everything, right? It is not mutually exclusive, but the system here is, again, that is why now specialists are focusing on consumer awareness, advertising directly to consumers, that you don't need a referral to come to a specialist. You're most welcome. You can come for an exam without a referral. But it is still important to maintain those relationships with the referring dentist till we reach to that level of awareness where the patient would himself or herself know that, I need to go see a specialist. I don't want my dentist to perform this complicated treatment, and I would want to go and see a prosthodontist, periodontist, or an orthodontist.
At least orthodontist is a coveted specialty, but perio, endo, and prostho, like most of the general dentists are doing those works right now in the clinics. So in the CDCP, is even implants included, or patient have to pay from the pocket?
Yeah, so the coverage is not fully inclusive. There are ifs and buts, and many of the procedures are not covered. Some of the procedures required pre authorization. So, and the system is changing because it's a new system. So
Mhm.
they always issue updates on submission guidelines, where you would need prior authorizations, where you can submit directly. So there's been a lot of change. It's still evolving.
Yeah, I think it is. It was rolled around like last year, 24, 25.
Yep, it's. I think it's been 2 years. Yes, yeah.
Yes. So speaking of getting the patients, so how important do you think marketing is for a specialist or a general dentist for their clinics?
I think it's very important, especially if you are in a competitive environment, if you are in a urban setting. Marketing is very important. You need to spread the word. You need to show them why they would want to come to you. You need to, go set out, speak about your clinic, your technology which you're using. Nowadays, people are also showing like a portfolio of cases before
Yes.
and afters. So there's a lot going on, and marketing is not just, now with social media, sky is the limit. There are so many platforms, and sometimes it gets overwhelming to see, if you want to, a small piece of each and every platform, it's too much. And then we also focus on community. So I think that is the most important thing. You have to advertise to your local community. You have to participate in local community events, support local community programs. So that is also very important. But social media is very big these days.
Yeah. So is it allowed, to market your clinic? At till what level is it allowed for the dentist to market the clinics according to
Yeah.
the law?
So here, Royal College of Dental Surgeons of Ontario, which is also known as RCDSO, they set guidelines on what you can advertise and what you can't. So broadly, you cannot advertise claiming superiority over your colleagues with equal experience. So, and it should be very clear. You cannot advertise all those discounts directly, or offering treatment at a premium. You have to be under, follow the regulations, guidelines for any promotions and any kind of advertising.
How much do you think new practice owners should set aside for their marketing?
So this was a difficult question, because initially when I was setting budgets, I was thinking how much, but then I spoke to a lot of practice consultants, and they were advising 20% of your annual budget should go to marketing, which is a big number.
Yeah.
But then this is what, according to their experience. And I also feel that you need to invest on marketing, especially if you're starting from scratch, because then you need to spread the word out there. Yes, in the beginning, you need a push. Once you get to a threshold of patients, then word of mouth would be your advertising. But before you get there, you need a push.
That is true. Like even marketing takes time to build up. You cannot expect the results in 1 month. At least you need to give to 6 months to an year for to everything to settle down, and having that rolling ball going on for the marketing as well.
Yep, I agree with that. Like, you have to do it for 6 to 8 months before you start seeing any results.
And so while deciding for the budget, how did you decide like where did you intentionally spend money where others might call unnecessary, and it has given you results?
I think technology. So I was very, uh, sure about using the latest and advanced technology, which elevates patient cares. So, for example, intraoral scanners. I was like, I should have the best scanner, which could, not only scan teeth, but do some kind of simulation to show patients how the end results would look like. So that would be a patient experience tool. And then I have a 3D printer in my practice, which I was very sure that I can print my own models, make my own retainers in house, and deliver them to the patients. So I invested a lot on the technology side of it. Again, my patient management software, I wanted something which could integrate with as many things as possible, so that everything is seamless, charts, notes, and the diagnosis, so that everything is connected and seamless.
And where do you think dentists overspend, thinking that it will give them return?
I think interiors, I think definitely it's valuable to have good, neat interiors, but overspending, making it ultra luxurious, might, in my opinion, might not what which give you the best return on investment. So if you focus on patient experience, if you focus on something which would make your treatment better, more efficient, I think that would be the best thing. Yes, if you are designing a clinic, you would want it to look good, but if if you can keep it simple, if you can keep it nice, if you can keep it neat and clean, I think that would be more than enough, and divert the extra funds to making your patient flow, your workflow, your patient experience good.
So you talk a lot about the sustainable growth on your LinkedIn profile. So what does it really mean as an orthodontic practice, sustainable growth?
Yeah, so sustainability is very important. Like, you should be, for example, if I'm now doing a practice and I'm seeing X amount of patients, I have to see if I get 20% extra patients tomorrow, would I be able to sustain that? Is my growth going to be sustainable? So again, it depends on the capacity. Like for now, I'm starting as a from scratch. So now it's a brand new practice. So I can sustain more growth till a point of time. So this is sustainability in terms of practice growth. Then, otherwise, if I think of a broader perspective of sustainability in terms of environment, we are also seeing a lot of plastic usage in orthodontics with the advent of clear aligners. So we also try to do our part in minimizing the plastic waste. uh, if you need X number of aligners, don't order extra because everything is covered in a package. Try to order what you really need and try to be more environmental friendly.
So, doctor, how do you protect clinical integrity when business pressure pushes you for more start, faster turnover, and higher volume?
Yep. So, I think the best way around, because I've worked in DSO and OSO environment, there the margins are less, the numbers are more.
Yes.
So it's like you have to start this many patients to be profitable every month. And what happens down the road is it affects your clinical judgment, because you don't want to push a treatment to patients who really don't need treatment. I think the best strategy is to price your treatment right, so that you have the margin built in and you don't have to push for 10 patients more to achieve the profits. So
Yes.
I think it's price it right, do a less number of patients so that you can earn the same profit, because at the end of the day, it's a business. You need to pay to your employees, you need to pay yourself. So price it right. Don't do like, offer these massive discounts upfront, and then you are only basing on volume. So then, for example, if your margins are less per patient, you would want to see extra patients every month. And in my case, if I see that the patient don't need treatment, that is non-negotiable. If I feel that the patient would not benefit from this treatment, I would never start that patient.
So, you care deeply about mentoring early career clinicians. So, what are the most common mistakes you see new dentists making?
So, in my opinion, I think one of the most important mistakes which I see them is not planning ahead in time. So, I think, people like this concept of one step at a time, which is not bad, which is not bad. But you should know what is your blueprint. So I'm really inspired by Martin Luther King. So he has this famous speech, what's the blueprint of your life? So you should have a broader sense of what you want to do. Do you want to be a practice owner? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? Not necessarily with clinical practice. You can develop a dental software. You can work with dental material development. You can do something. What is your broader objective in life? Give it some time, because then it's very easier, you can work towards it. changing paths during your career is very difficult. So people practice clinical dentistry for 5 years and they are like, I don't love this. I would want to go back to academic. Or
Mm.
people who are in academic are after 5 years thinking, I don't like this much. So don't keep yourself in this situation for so long. If you don't like something, okay, you need to try it, but don't push yourself in that thing for long. You know, just because others are doing it, I would do it the same way. Everybody is joining the college with the clinic, I would do the same thing. No, that is not good. You're wasting a lot of time, and it's very difficult to switch to different paths as you grow old and as you invest more time in one aspect of dentistry.
We have to have a plan before you decide your next move.
Yeah.
So, do you advise, like, for Indians who want to practice in Canada, what advice do you have for them? And are you open to mentoring those students as well, like who are
Yeah,
planning to?
yeah. I have registered on many platforms in Canada.
Mm.
So one is called Windmill.
Yeah,
So where I don't know if you've heard about it.
I
They
did.
they also offer loans to students who are participating in the equivalency process. So
Yes.
there is a platform. I do help students. I'm registered as a mentor with them. So I'm very open to mentorship, and I would like to give it back. I would not want a future, dentist to do the same mistakes which I have done, and want the path to be more smoother for them. So I really care about it.
Yes. Like, it's about giving back to the your community and your dental society as well, because in Canada the largest force that is coming there is from India, apart from China. So I think many dentists will find this podcast also helpful, to navigate their career, because I'm sure most of them doesn't even know about the DSCTP programs. And also, having shed light on that also will help them to think about, like, this is an option for me.
Yep, I would say to any dentist who are watching this, planning to move to Canada, please do your research. Like, don't just listen to people. Go to official websites. Go to the university websites to see what are your options, what you would want to do. So you can do the equivalency process. You can go to dental school to do the international dental program for dentists. You
Yes.
can do the specialty program. You can even apply for specialty or residency to different universities, which is a full residency program of 3 years, right?
So,
So, yeah.
sorry to, yeah, I
Yeah.
have a doubt here. So, after we can apply to the university programs directly or after getting the license as a DDS.
No, you can apply directly. So I know a lot of students who came after their dental school from back home in India, and they've
Mm.
joined residency here, and they finish the residency in 3 years, and they start working as specialists, and they can practice in Canada. They can practice in not all but few states in
US.
USA as a specialist dentist. So yeah, I know a lot of people who have chosen that path because they were like, we are already a dentist. I don't want to go back to dental school to be a dentist again. I really want to be a prosthodontist or a periodontist or an orthodontist. And they have directly entered residency program. It's difficult, but you have to prepare again, planning in advance, because if you know the process, what they want from people who are applying for residency programs, you have to focus on that, and that's when the planning would come into picture.
So, how much GPA does affects these programs, doctor? Like, even in DSATP or DDS and residency programs, just GPA, how much impact does it have on your chances?
So it has a major impact when it comes to screening. So
Okay.
they screen people, like for example, first screening is based on your CGPA and your English language assessments. So English
Okay.
language assessment is also very important. So and then, so it is just a screening tool, is what I would say. And they are not looking for people with very exceptionally high CGPA or high English scores, but they are looking for a threshold. So it is a screening tool, but beyond that, everything else counts. If you're applying for a residency, have you published any articles? Have you worked on any research projects? If you have not published articles, you don't expect people in dental school to publish articles, but have you worked on any research projects? What was your community involvement? Did you participate in any community based programs? Right? And overall, what did you do apart from dentistry? So, like, it's your overall profile which counts.
Like, most of the universities we see a cutoff of 3.5 or 3.0 GPA, and many the students think like if they don't have that much GPA, they will think like they may not select me, and do not apply itself.
So that is a screening thing. I somewhat agree with that. So all these universities will have a minimum CGPA, right?
Yes.
So not necessarily if you have 3.9, 3.5, but for example, 3. So they said we would not take anybody with less than 3. So you would be like gone, like the screening is done. So they would only they would only consider above 3. So they would screen people initially and then choose people who have above the basic threshold. And then from there, they would apply other criterias.
So, if a young clinician told you that they wanted to own a practice within 5 years, so what's the roadmap you would hand them?
Yep. So I would say that, first, continue working as an associate, start understanding the business side of it, start looking at the numbers in year one and year two, focus on the practice numbers, what is production, what is collection, learn the business side of it, learn the accountancy side of it, to how to read a profit and loss statement, what it takes for the practice to be profitable. Also, see your employees, what are the expectations, what are the HR policies, and see how that can influence your decision. And then year third is when, if you are close, if you're like 2 years before you are thinking about starting something, start looking at location. Location is very important, and decide not only just based on patient demographics. See if you would want to live in that place. It's a long term decision. You cannot just start a practice and then, after 3, 4 years, it's, oh, the drive is too much. I don't like it anymore. It's not possible. It's possible working as an associate, but as an owner. So not only with how the patient or how the competition is, but would you be interested in living at that location or close to that location for X number of years. And then once you have the location in mind, then you look at various aspects, if you want to lease or if you want to buy, and then start working on I would say financial plan, how much it would cost to start that practice, who is going to finance your practice, how much have you saved, or how much would you need to save before you can start, how much time it would take to break even. So then you come up with a business plan in the last year when you have everything sorted out, that this is what it would take to start and run the practice before it breaks even.
Yes, I think that is the most definite plan and most realistic plan that you have provided for the young dentist. So, what does the next chapter look like for you and Vivid Smiles?
Yeah, so now we are in a growing phase. So we started last year and we are getting some good traction now. And I'm looking to grow the practice to serve the local community. At the same time, because I had this, academic orientation from the very beginning, I love participating in any research projects. Now the time is not much as it used to be, but I still, love attending these international conferences, learning more about what is happening in orthodontics. Uh, and I also love sharing knowledge by, doing all the presentations, whether it is clinical, whether it is related to, starting a new practice or guiding young clinicians on navigating their future. So yeah, I plan to continue the clinical growth and working more with research and trying to go from here.
One of the fascinating things that I've noticed, doctor, is like most of the clinic owners, even DSO owners, are Indians. So I think if you have the right drive, and we can make it anywhere in the world.
Yep,
Uh,
that is true. Like I think it boils down to your commitment, your dedication, right, and your desire to succeed.
like I'm also planning to move to Canada, so I have been researching a lot, and I was so shocked, like seeing many of the DSO owners and CEOs being Indians, like Aspen Dental and other, even Dr. Anil. We had scheduled a podcast, but his because of his father's health we couldn't complete it. But I think, while I was researching for him, I got to know that so many Indians are there at such high positions and being so many successful things. So I don't think we need to get bogged down by, the propaganda that there is not enough space for dentist over there. I think anywhere in the world, if you work hard and, have a plan, as you said, we can make anywhere, anything in the world. I would feel
Yes.
that way.
Yeah, Indian community is very strong here in Canada, and not only dentists, doctors, physiotherapists, allied care professionals, nurses, they are doing a phenomenal job, and I'm very proud of my Indian roots, and I would love to share and help any Indian dentists, who are planning to move to Canada. I've always kept myself open to helping others, and yeah, I think it's not a good or bad place. If you want to move here, you can move here. You can always find ways to make things work.
Yes.
It How your resolve is would determine everything.
If you don't have a plan B, then you will make the plan A work. So if it is like you have to decide about more about culturally, and like as you said, having a community of our own is very important, especially for Indians. We are all family oriented, so we thrive when we are in our community and within our family. So for someone who hears this and wants to follow your work or reach out, where should they find you?
Yep. So professionally, they can find me on LinkedIn. They can visit the website of the clinic where there is information about me, what we do, what we provide. They can also reach out at various social media platforms if they just want to follow me. My clinical, sometimes I do give clinical tips and tricks, show pre-post results for my patients on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, etc. So it depends. If your goal are to follow my professional journey, then follow me on LinkedIn. If you want to know more about my practice and clinical work, then you can go to these social media platforms.
So is there anything or a message that you would like to for our listeners to leave with?
Yep, I think first of all, I thank you for inviting me, giving this opportunity to share. My message would be like have a blueprint in life. And once you decide on what you want to do, just go out and give your best to achieve that. Don't have a doubt in your mind about your capabilities. You have to work hard, and nothing is impossible.
Thank you, Doctor. It has been a pleasure and an honor to have you on the podcast. And I'm sure many people are going to be inspired by your journey, and also, like, it will make them think that they can also make it, seeing a familiar face in the foreign country doing so good for themselves. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Doctor. I really appreciate your time and efforts, and I'm looking forward to many more interactions in the future. Thank you.
Hopefully, thank you.